I'm on my way into the city right now to pick up my special guest. He's been in real estate for 30 years, which means he started when I was just 6 years old. His biggest sale is $14.6 million, and the best auction he's ever done was in 1991. So gosh, let's hope he gets another good auction soon. Let's pick him up. So mate, what are we drinking? Marchetti. This looks quite posh.
It is.
We're in the city after all.
Yeah. Tats Arcade, beautiful Parisian cafe, double shot latte to start the morning.
A double shot latte, gosh. Yeah. And I've already had a coffee this morning too, so I'm going to be bouncing off the walls. 30 years in real estate. So did you know that I was 6 years old when you started?
Yeah, no, it's tragic.
Your best auction was in 1991. And like a bit of time's passed since then. Yeah. That's still your best.
Yeah, look, I think you always remember your first time. I had just come fresh out of auction training with Ray White. So I was this enthusiastic young guy. I just did everything by the book.
Yeah.
The lady who gave me the listing just trusted me throughout. We could have sold it very easily prior to. For about 180, 190,000. Anyway, I took it to auction. We sold it for 217 and a half. I walked back in the office after that going, this is it. I love auctions. And, I must admit, I struggle selling private treaty.
Yeah.
I really do.
Even now?
Yeah.
Really?
Even now, I just struggle with it, but I just love the structure of the auction.
I understand you got sacked when you first started.
My first love was stockbroking. I got a job down in Sydney with a stockbroking firm. But unfortunately, a little thing happened in October of '87, the big stock market crash. And because I was the last person in, I was also the first person out. So I've been sacked a couple of times. That was my first one. I got a job with Richard Ellis in industrial leasing, and there were lots of incidents, but the final straw, I think, for the guys at Richard Ellis was a young guy and I, we were partying down at Fridays. We decided that we should continue the party with a couple of young girls back at the boardroom at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that was probably the final straw. So I got booted. I look back at it as really one of the best things that ever happened to me. Because one, it gave me the kick up the arse I needed. And two, it led me to get into residential real estate. I learned more in the first 6 months in residential than I did in 3 years in commercial.
Wow. Well, mate, you're looking fit.
Yeah, it's great, yeah.
You're looking real fit.
Yeah, I made a decision at the beginning of the year that 2019 was the year of health and wealth.
Yep.
Health side's going really well.
Yep.
The wealth side's a work in progress. Yeah. We just cut the carbs out, we cut sugar out, we cut potatoes out, meat and veg and salads. And,
that's all you're eating now?
Yep, and cut down the size of what I ate.
And how much weight have you lost?
I lost 30 kilos
wow.
so far. Haven't hit my goal yet. My goal is to get back to where I was when I was about 23.
Okay.
So 88 kilos, so I'm about 7-8 kilos away now.
Mate, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a health scare 15 months ago, which really sort of gave me again a kick up the butt. I had an ocular stroke in my right eye.
Wow.
So one of the things people won't know is I'm actually blind in my right eye now.
Wow.
So that gave me a bit of a kick. And just from a pure business point of view, I sort of thought to myself, geez, if I was a young guy, would I want to work with a fat leader? So, from a business point of view, I just felt it was really important.
Yeah.
Health and business-wise, I felt it was important to get myself into shape.
Yeah. We all know that there's a huge oversupply of apartments, but you guys are still doing well.
Yeah.
So how do you generate that urgency in your market?
Buyers have got massive choice. So the reason we use the auction process there is purely just to create that urgency.
Yep.
To create that sense that I've got to make a decision on that day.
Yep.
I just can't keep drifting through the marketplace.
And so obviously by putting a time frame on the auction campaign it does that, but how do you get the buyers to act? Like what are you doing with buyers to actually get them to come and bid on your property rather than buying one of the other couple of hundred that are for sale?
Today it's about asking the right questions, and being enthusiastic. Circumstances of the owner, being enthusiastic about the reasons why they're selling, asking the right sort of questions. One of the biggest things I think in real estate, a lot of mistakes that agents make is they make decisions for both buyers and sellers.
Yeah, isn't that true?
And one of the things we just can't do in town is you cannot presume what a buyer's going to pay, and you certainly can't presume what an owner's going to take because most owners won't tell you exactly their reasons and the financial pressures that they might be under or the moves that they're making, the circumstances for which they're selling. You just can't make that judgment.
Yeah. So you guys don't stand in the way of price. That's what you're saying.
You can't be the gatekeeper of price, particularly in apartments.
Yeah.
We're very tough on. We have a sales meeting once a week where we go through our listings and the stock management side is really important for us, and we're very tough on our own listings. And invariably, the listing agent will always be the person who puts the price the highest.
Yep.
But in my office, the other guys will tear them down.
Right, yeah.
And quite ruthless in that regard.
Yeah.
And to make sure that we just keep them accountable.
So, Dean, you've obviously run big teams.
Yep.
You've overseen a lot of salespeople.
Yep.
And I want to ask, what have you seen that works the best?
There's no set formula on who's going to be a great salesperson.
Yep.
They've just got to be hardworking. They've got to be enthusiastic. They've got to have some structure. I think structure is really important.
Yep.
And probably where I think the industry has changed is we have become a more structured business.
Yep.
With databasing, with our marketing, the way people work. Teams now has been a big change. I think it
Didn't used to exist.
No, never used to exist. Yeah.
And so, do you think? I mean, speaking of that, the whole becoming more independent. Do you think the whole agency model still applies? Is it still as relevant as it used to be, say, 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think that the role of a business and the leaders in the business have changed. I think it used to be. I used to say that I'm creating an environment here where you can succeed, and that's still the case. But we're not providing as much of the services that we used to.
Yeah.
Because again, a lot of salespeople are doing that themselves.
Yep.
But I think a business now to become relevant has got to add value to a salesperson through leadership, training, but more importantly, lead generation. And that's really, I think, where we're spending a lot of money and a lot of our time in our business is lead gen. Because that gives real value to a salesperson.
Absolutely, it does.
If you can bring them an extra 10, 15 sales a year that they wouldn't have got, then they're going to see value in that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the average income in Queensland for real estate agents is about 150, 160,000 gross GCI. So they're they're probably earning about half of that.
Yep.
And then you've got, the top 10% all making over, say, 500,000 a year, something like that. I mean, what is it? What separates those people from everyone else?
Look, again, all those things I said, I think also the ability to have hard conversations.
Yes.
You see a big change in a young salesperson when they finally, and I look at myself, and my progression, when you actually had the intestinal fortitude or the guts or the balls to actually stand up to an owner and have that hard conversation that you have to have. You can't have that conversation if you haven't earned the right to actually have it by great service and doing everything you say you're going to do.
Yep.
Back in '97, I had the pleasure of handling...
The 90s were really your time, weren't they, Dean?
But this was an auction I did at King Arthur Terrace in Tennyson, a beautiful property, and they said they were definitely committed to selling the property, but they gave me a reserve of $3 million. I walked out, got in the car, was going back to the office, and it was the first time I said, fuck it. I turned the car around and I went back.
Wow.
And I had the hard conversation with them. And I said, guys, you're not serious about selling. And these are really high profile, top 200 rich list people. And they ended up giving me a reserve of 2.4 and we sold it under the hammer for 2.7.
Great.
And that really, I think, launched, that made me aware of the fact you've just got to have those hard conversations.
That's good. What do you see as great service?
Oh, look, doing what you say you're going to do. In my auction campaigns for my guys, it's talking to the owner every day, if not twice a day.
Okay.
It's sending them an email first thing in the morning saying what you're going to do in a day, ringing them in the afternoon saying this is what's been done.
That's fabulous.
So in our marketplace, you have to do that. Because we've got a marketplace where we don't get a lot of buyers. We've got a marketplace where, unfortunately, our owners are going to have to make tough decisions.
Yep.
They've paid $550 for the property. It's probably worth $450, $480. So you've got a very limited time to try and get them to a point where they're going to be able to make a decision. And that's probably the other thing I believe in, with the auction campaign. Our only job is to get bidders there on the day and to give the owner an opportunity to make a decision. Give them that opportunity to be able to make a decision.
Yeah.
Whether they sell it or not, it's up to them.
Yeah, but you got to give them the opportunity.
But at least we've done the job.
So, Dean, if you could go back to your first day in real estate 30 years ago, what advice would you give yourself now?
Look, I work a bit harder. Certainly with technology now and the way databasing is, if I could go back and build a better database back then, I certainly would have done it. Because we were real catch and kill back in those days.
Yeah. Awesome, Dean. Well, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. So when do we sing? Carpool karaoke?
Oh, do you want to say?
No,
you want to sing?
No, I don't want to do that.